Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about the gaming industry a little bit and the strike that's going on, and this whole industry is in a lot of trouble right now for a lot of different reasons. So let's cue up the music and we'll talk about the latest. Alright, so according to CBSNews.com, video game voice and motion actors announced second strike over AI concerns. Now, AI is a relatively new... the idea's been around for a long time. I can remember being a little kid and hearing about AI. There was a movie called AI. I was a little older for that one, but I think when I was 14, Terminator came out. And that was kind of like my first exposure to AI. And you may laugh about it and all that, but, what was it? Cybernet, whatever. Skynet was the global protective AI designed to protect humanity, and it decided that humanity was the problem, so it tried to wipe them out. And that always, that was kind of like my introduction to AI as a child. Not a child, I was 14 years old, but that was my first exposure to it. And it was always kind of left me with that, like, ooh, that's an interesting concept. And if you don't have a conscience, you don't have feelings, you don't have a moral compass, but you have intelligence and you're in control of things, how, you could make a decision like that, right? That would make sense. We've seen it represented by Ultron in the comic books and all over the place in media and so forth and so on. It's always been an interesting thing. Well, now we see it in reality, AI out there, and it's not so much that it wants to kill us, it just wants to take all of our jobs. Let's talk about this. So Hollywood video game performers announced they would go on strike Thursday, throwing part of the entertainment industry into another work stoppage after talks for a new contract with major game studios broke down over AI protections, artificial intelligence protections. The strike, the second walkout for video game voice actors and motion capture performers under the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, will begin at 12:01 a.m. Friday. The move comes after nearly 2 years of negotiations with gaming giants, including divisions of Activision, Warner Brothers, and Walt Disney Company over a new interactive media agreement. And those are some big companies. SAG-AFTRA negotiators say gains have been made over wages and job safety in the video game contract, but that the two sides remain split over the regulation of generative AI. A spokesperson for the video game producers, Audrey Cooling, said the studios offered AI protections, but SAG-AFTRA's negotiation committee said that the studio's definition of what constitutes a performer is key to understanding the issue of who would be protected. The industry's told us point blank that they do not necessarily consider everyone who is rendering movement performance to be a performer that is covered by the collective bargaining agreement, SAG-AFTRA Chief Contractors Officer Ray Rodriguez said at a news conference Thursday afternoon. He said some physical performances are being treated as data. Without guardrails, game companies could train AI to replace an actor's voice or create a digital replica of their likeness without consent or fair compensation, the union said. This is an interesting conundrum now. Bruce Willis, right? We all know, well, people in my age range and a little bit older and a little younger and all that, we all know who Bruce Willis is. He was kind of like your everyday action hero from back in the day, right? Die Hard was his big break onto the action movie scene. And, he had that whole series, and he's done a ton of stuff out there. A lot of fun stuff. Always enjoyed his work and all that. He wasn't as robust and over the top as Stallone and Schwarzenegger were, but he gave you a action hero that you could identify with more because he was a little more realistic. He wasn't the superhero. He wasn't super cut and huge and, every muscle and vein showing and all that. He was more of he looked like a cop or a plumber or just an everyday guy that would get himself in these situations. And that was how he was marketed. It was great. Well, he's sick right now. He's really, really sick. He's not doing well. I forget what it's called that he has, But it's sad to watch him degenerate. He's unable to do... And it's funny because I've watched his career over the last, 8-9 years, just kind of switch from headlining movies and all that to going to direct-to-video films a lot. And it's kind of sad to watch an actor of his caliber. Not that he was the greatest actor of all time, but he was very popular and people loved Bruce Willis, But to see him kind of reduced to those roles, and then eventually we find out he's really sick, and I guess he can't perform his roles that well or can't speak that well. I'm not 100% sure what his illness is right off the top of my head, but it's devastated him and made him unable to continue with his career. But I remember reading a year or so ago, maybe a little bit longer, that he sold his likeness and voice, the rights to it, so that he could be brought into pieces of work, film and whatnot, as an actor for, I guess, I don't know if he received a one-time compensation for this ability to a company, or if he'll get royalties for it or what, but he made some kind of agreement to do that, and I guess that was kind of like a last-ditch effort to say, hey, I'm going to capitalize on my name and my face and my voice one more time before I ride off into the sunset. And right or wrong, whatever you consider on that, he did probably what he did for his family and all that, because if he can't perform, he can't make money. I mean, granted, you're going to live off your old royalties and whatnot, but if you're not doing new stuff, you're not bringing in those big bucks. And if you're living that lifestyle and all that, you don't adjust it in time, you can find yourself living in a deficit before long. So in any case, that's, we're still in the same rail here with AI, because it would be AI creating Bruce Willis from then. It would be taking face scans from movies and whatnot and recreating it. We saw them do that with Paul Walker when he passed away in Fast and the Furious movie, the last one that he was in. We saw them do it way back in the day with The Crow with Brandon Lee. It's just something that gets done in Hollywood from time to time. When it comes time to when an actor passes away and you still need his likeness for something or other, usually I guess it's not sold. Maybe they make agreements with the family. I know they did that with Paul Walker because his brother played like a body double for him, and was the body and head that they molded his face onto, something like that. Again, I don't know the technology behind it exactly, but it's neat that it can do it. But then sometimes you get these really weird situations like Princess Leia in Rogue One. Just some real creepy pasta there, and what's his name, Peter Cushing as well. He was like really creepy looking. You can tell who they're based off of, right? And it's like looking at a really good video game. Now, granted, this movie is a little older now, especially in terms of technology. It's ancient, but with every year the advances get better and better in recreating people and all that. But just to see those faces and all that, it was just a little uncanny. So maybe if we see Bruce Willis in an upcoming project, maybe we'll see him in a video game, hear his voice, whatever, and it's just going to be AI with a Bruce Willis face on it. And that's a weird thought, So I understand why actors and actresses are concerned about this, because it does seem like AI wants to replace a lot of things. I can use AI to create artwork now if I wanted to. I could create every single, and I've done it in the past, thumbnail using AI if I chose to. If I got a really good AI program or subscribe to one or whatever, I could have some real fun with that. And it's something I'm toying with. I can create music with it. People have written books with it and screenplays and stuff like that. And it's, and granted, people can tell. You can tell when AI does a picture or when AI writes something and all that, but it's only going to get better, But for now, it's like, okay, that's neat, but it's not real, That painting is cool, but I can kind of tell that it's not real. It's just got this weird look to it that is slightly off-putting. I could tell there was no humans involved. But for how much longer is that going to be? 5 years, 10 years, 1 year? Who knows? And with actors and all that, it's really kind of creepy. I mean, I already hear YouTube channels that get narrated by AI voices. Now, granted, those are annoying as hell usually. I mean, be imperfect and and whatever, but these things, they just have this weird lilt to them. Sometimes they have these weird patterns to the vocals where at the end of a sentence they will raise up their voice, or just weird stuff, man. It's totally uncanny and disturbing. Let's move on. So, they say, we strike as a matter of last resort. We have given this process absolutely as much time as we responsibly can, Rodriguez told reporters. We've exhausted the other possibilities, and that is why we're doing it now. Cooling said the companies offer extended meaningful AI protections. We're disappointed the union has chosen to walk away when we are so close to a deal, and we remain prepared to resume negotiations, she said. Andy Norris, an actor and member of the union's negotiating committee, said that those who do stunt work or creature performances would still be at risk under the game company's offer. The performers who bring their body of work to these games create a whole variety of characters, and all of that work must be covered. Their proposal would carve out anything that doesn't look and sound identical to me as I sit here, when in truth, on any given week, I'm a zombie. I'm a soldier. I'm a zombie soldier, Norris said. We cannot and will not accept that a stunt or movement performer giving a full performance on stage next to a voice actor isn't a performer. I gotta agree with him. I mean, yeah, you're a performer now. I know that these animation programs and stuff like that out there, they do some great animations and all that, but nothing moves like a human being, right? Even looking at when somebody talks, and you look at the old cartoons when their mouth was just like bop, 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 bop while they talked, and there was absolutely no trying to lip sync, and as time went on and animation got better and better, it got to a point where, it was pretty damn good. And then when you get motion capture, and you've got the guy with the thing on his face capturing every nuance, every movement of every muscle on his face or her face, talking, and then you overlay that with the actual character itself and transfer those movements from the actor to the character, well, that gives you a really great experience. It looks like that character's talking, no more of that old yap, 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 yap mouth or anything like that. So it's pretty wild. The global video game industry generates well over $100 billion in profit annually, according to game market forecaster Newzoo. The people who design and bring those games to life are the driving force behind that success, SAG-AFTRA said. Members voted overwhelmingly last year to give leadership the authority to strike. Concerns about how movie studios will use AI helped fuel last year's film and television strikes by a union, which lasted 4 months. The last interactive contract, which expired in November 2022, did not provide protections around AI, but secured a bonus compensation structure for voice actors and performance capture artists after an 11-month strike that began in October 2016. The work stoppage marked the first major labor action from SAG-AFTRA following the merger of Hollywood's two largest actors' unions in 2012. Now, the video game agreement covers more than 2,500 off-camera voiceover performers, on-camera motion capture and stunt performers, stunt coordinators, singers, dancers, puppeteers, and background performers, according to the union. Amid the tense interactive negotiations, SAG-AFTRA created a separate contract in February that covered independent and low-budget video game projects. The tiered budget independent interactive media agreement contains some of the protections on AI that video game industry titans have rejected. Games signed to an interim interactive media agreement, tier budget independent interactive agreement, or interim interactive localization agreements are not part of the strike, the union said. So this is mainly geared toward the AAA games, and AAA games is where the real problems are this year. I mean, they mentioned Activision, they mentioned Disney, and they mentioned Warner Brothers. Those are three huge companies out there. And none of them are perfect. Activision was recently acquired by Microsoft. Of course, they've got their Call of Duty and they got their Diablo and a ton of other stuff that they do. But they're a heavily criticized company, and they get a lot of blowback from customers due to DEI concerns and monetization concerns and the ethics at the workplace and stuff like that. We've heard some nightmare stories. So they're not above criticism. Warner Brothers just lost $200 million this year on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and we all know all the controversy surrounding Disney right now with their Star Wars IP, their Marvel IP, as well as their cartoons and stuff like that, and just a lot of allegations against Disney and the changes that have occurred at that company. So those three major companies are pushing back, and you got to wonder, are they employing AI a lot, or is that something that they're threatening? Are they holding that over? Or I don't know. What do you guys think of it down below? Let me know in the comment section. As a fan of technology, AI is cool to me, right? But I understand the risks behind it, and I understand why people are concerned about it. Myself included, Myself included. So the trick here, and I don't like seeing it do artwork, because art is a very human thing. Art is a very personal thing. An artist will paint something, for instance, and it's going to mean what it means to that artist when he painted it. And 1,000 people can look at that painting and have 100 different meanings behind it, or 1,000 different meanings behind it, personal to them when they see that painting. And I don't think AI is capable of copying that, which is good, but maybe in marketing and stuff like that, it's got a really good place, because marketing art is a different form of art. I'm not going to knock it and say it's not art, because it is, but it's also geared toward the masses. So it's kind of like the fast food of art, if you will, grant me that. I could see AI in that kind of stuff, but as far as writing television series or movie scripts or books, novels, imagine sitting down and, and some of these, and I'm going to be a little harsh here, but some of these novelists that put out a novel a year roughly almost feel like they're using AI and have been using it for 20 years, because there's a certain formula to their stuff, and it works. It's like, okay, well, here we have the same book again, just a different wrapper on it. We've renamed everybody, we've moved the location, we've slightly changed the plot, and some of this and some of that, but here's the same book again. Read it and enjoy it. Consume. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.